Yes, what's going on, people? How's it going? How are you doing? This very interesting Monday. I think today's the 31st of May, right? Let me just make sure it's the 1st of June. That's how messed up I am. Today has been, let's just say this last 1 week has been very, very interesting in the sense that we have been taking, how you doing, Melissa? How's everybody doing? We've been taking through all sorts of emotions, from the evidence of police brutality in the United States of America. Damola, what's up, man? To police brutality as well in our back garden, back home in Africa, particularly Nigeria. To the ill treatment. My brother, Kelechi, well done, man. I see what you're doing. Big shout outs to you, man. I really see what you're doing. So I thought today, when I woke up this morning and I was looking at the news, the young lady that was brutally raped and murdered in Benin, in Nigeria, and then the young lady that was shot by irresponsible police officers in Lagos. I just thought, what's going on? Like, when it comes to issues, it's a lot, Melissa. I'm not even going to lie to you. And when it comes to issues about police brutality, that's on one side. You know, a lot of us have, been a victim of police brutality, particularly in Nigeria. I've witnessed that. I've experienced it, almost lost my life to that. Racism in the United Kingdom, or, behind closed doors, and even up front racism. I definitely have experienced that. And, but when it comes to freedoms and rights of women, where I'm from, Africa, particularly Nigeria, I'm sure a lot of us that grew up back there know that it's almost nothing, and that's why we continue to see the evidence of, abuse of power by men in power. Universities, secondary schools, these institutions are no longer safe for women. There are young women being abused by lecturers, by other guys in there. There's physical abuse, there's domestic abuse, and when as a man, I've started to think about it. I'm like, there are a variety of things that are wrong. There are definitely young men that are now growing up to feel like it's okay to physically abuse, a woman. It's okay to sexually abuse a woman. It's okay. They're not being punished for it. There are no repercussions for it. And, like my brother Adekunle posted on the social media, I think all men need to take responsibility rather than feel, a little bit defensive and sensitive about it. I think it's time we start taking responsibility, that if you made sure that it was clear with your friends that sexual assault, sexual abuse is just not on. If you raise a son and you make him know that physical abuse towards a woman, it is just not on. When you say that every single day, you will be changing the life of definitely the young man that you're raising, and surely the men that are around you. And I think it's about time we started taking responsibility. I just thought to myself, like, this thing was getting too much. Who can I reach out to? Let me just reach out to, my sister, YEMIALADE, who I know is definitely an advocate for women, living her life, basically fighting on all fronts. And I just wanted to hear her thoughts. And a man to a woman, let me listen to her. Because the one thing that I noticed that a lot of people haven't been doing recently is listening. People think that we're just talking about this racism, we're just lashing out, but we're not listening to each other. They're not even asking me. There was only one person. Shout out, I think it was Gail that reached out to me. Shout out to her. She was like, how do you feel? And that was the first time anybody actually asked me how I felt about what I was witnessing, what I was seeing, my brothers, being killed all over the place and, treated like animals. So I want to ask a woman as well, how do you feel about the fact that women are not being treated right? Young girls are being raped in a church, in her own neighborhood, the church that she's attended for 15 years. 15 years. You have to think about this, That's not the first time she's been to that church. That is the church she's attended for 15 years. She was brutally raped and murdered in her own family church. That's just a couple of meters from her house. So she'd finished studying. She was on her way out and came in a couple of young men who went in there to brutalize her. She was beaten, smashed with extinguishers. She had bite marks all over her body. She was bleeding all over her body. Bro, we're talking animals that most likely know her. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me try to get Yemi on now. Let me just listen to a woman. And I just want to start listening to women. Like, what are we going to do? What should we be doing? What should we be doing? Yemi? Yeah, I'm live now. All right then. No problem. All right then, no problem. So I just want to listen to women, man. Like, in her own church that they've been attending for 15 years, she was raped and murdered, left for dead. It was a security guard in the church that found her. She was left for dead like that. That's one. That's not the first time we've seen this. We've seen it at universities across Nigeria. We've seen it at secondary schools across Nigeria where young girls are being brutally raped. And, it's just like we're asking, think of it this way. As blacks, as African Americans, as Afro-Caribbeans, as Africans, we're asking that our white friends speak out on behalf of us against white supremacy. Yet, as men, we're not ready to speak out on behalf of the women that are being brutally raped, sexualized, attacked, physically abused. How do we expect our white counterparts to speak against racism when we can't call out bad behavior in men? And you start to think, now I don't know about you guys, but man, I'm having so many, like as a parent, bringing up daughters and a son, I am scared as hell. Because I'm like, your son is in a situation where you've got to train him. The police might be after him. Racism, police brutality on one end. Daughters, you think I want to take my daughter back home to a place where they don't respect women, they don't respect young girls, they don't do anything like that? Please, can you turn that on? Is that what you want? So now we're left in a position where we have to start looking at each other and we have to start asking serious questions, or else we can't expect anybody in the world to come and save us right now. And even some of the language, I was listening to an interview on TVC, one of the Nigerian channels today, speaking about the rape case. And one of the commentators that was talking, he was passionate. He said the right things. They have to change the laws. Women have to feel secure and And then he went on to say, Uwa's death should be seen as a sacrificial lie. What? her death should be seen as a sacrificial lamb for change to happen? That's someone's daughter dead, raped in church, but you felt it was okay to use that as a term, as a sacrificial lamb. So there's so much learning that a lot of us have to do. And there's a man talking. Again, you know, I'm not trying to call him out. I'm just saying that we have to learn. How could you even feel comfortable using that statement in such a terrible case? If that was your own daughter, is that what you would say? That you're okay, she should just be the sacrificial lamb. Sacrificial lamb? Oh man, I'm telling you, I was stunned. My heart skipped one beat. I'm like, wow. So this man is okay to say that someone being raped and murdered is a sacrificial lamb for things to change. But we don't think we can say it's dumb. I completely agree with you. I think it's ridiculous. And I'm like, what's going on here? So this is what people, this is how much work we have to do to get people's mind right. You know, some people saying, oh, maybe the way she dressed. The way she dressed? She went to study in the middle of the night, as she usually does, as she's been doing for years, brother. The way she dressed. I'm like, are we here? Are we here? We're seriously talking about the way she dressed in 2020. So I think it's time for, you know, for men to step up and be able to pass the message to your friend. If your friends are making crazy jokes, you know, back then guys would make crazy jokes like, oh yeah. If your friends are making crazy jokes, you set them straight right away. No means no. It doesn't mean no maybe. It doesn't mean perhaps it could happen. Like we used to think back then, if she says no, it's no, bruv. Like, just leave her alone. Even if she wore hip pants. Are they saying that men driving expensive cars deserve for their cars to be jacked? I just don't know. That just tells you how people are thinking now. And these are young girls. She was 21 years old, 100-level student, studying microbiology at university, aspiring to be a nurse. She went to study as she usually does every single night at the local church that she's attended for over 15 years. And at the end of that, she was raped, brutally raped and murdered. She died of her injuries. Just think about that for 1 second. She was raped so badly that she died of her injuries. Think about that for 1 second. The beasts that we're raising. Now, everybody's fighting justice for Uwa, justice for Uwa, justice of Uwa. Will there be justice? Will there be justice? Do women feel safe enough in Nigeria that if they have been wronged, they can get justice? Think about that. We're asking for justice. Oh, you know, racists against black guys and stuff like that. But do the women think they can get justice in Nigeria? Where probably some of her family members would have said, oh, maybe what she was wearing was bad in the first place. Why did she go and study by herself in the middle of the night in the local church that she attends? This behavior must not become normalized. They allowing, you see, chauvinism and being chauvinistic and growing up in a masculine society is absolute. If you go and check out some of the statistics in South Africa, you would run. I think in South Africa is 1 out of 8 women have either been sexually assaulted, raped, or something. It's such a ridiculous, statistic that it is absolutely appalling. So it's like every single woman in South Africa knows someone that's been raped or sexually assaulted. That's basically what the statistics is saying. Who's committing those rapes? It's the men. Who are the people that are hiding these guys? What exactly are we teaching our brothers and our sons and our friends? That we're trying to, you know, the way people normalize domestic abuse and a man slapping a woman, like, you know, it's time that men really need to step up. You need to step up, because this thing is getting out of hand. We're talking police brutality on one side in Africa, in Nigeria. Now we're talking, you know, people, women, injustices against women is just at an all-time high. Let's put it that way. Injustices against, I'm still waiting for Yemi to come on, because I just want to, I think she was on the phone or something. So I just want to have a word with her. I think our African parents are not also teaching sex education, which is part of the problem. And do you think it's sex education? It's not really sex education. I just think it's common sense that a man does not have sex with a woman that doesn't want to have sex with them. Period. Let's start with that. That safe houses, again, we're talking about safe houses. We're talking about institutions. I thought about, there was a point where I thought about a charity called No Means No. And that is, number one, no against domestic violence, no to domestic and sexual violence. And I thought that the best way to start will probably be to go to secondary schools. Let's start going to secondary schools and going to universities to speak to our brothers. So let's catch those boys very young, when they're in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. Go repeatedly every year to go and talk and speak against domestic abuse and sexual, you know, and sexual abuse. If we do that from Form 1 to Form 6, all those 6 years of you being in secondary school and you being at high school, every single year, you get someone come in, do the presentation to the students, and teach them that, number one, no means no. Number two, it is against the law to have sex with a woman that doesn't want to have sex with you, and vice versa. Number three, if you do engage in such, this will be the criminal action. This will be the actions that will happen if you continue with this crime. And I think I was thinking about that, but I was here. So I'm like, how am I going to be able to do that? I need to be on ground. You know, I went to an all-boys school. You know, I went to Loyola College. Shout out to Loyola College. And I'll be honest with you, the way guys talk about girls and all of this stuff, there was a lot of bravado going on. And a lot of people also got pushed into situations because they felt that was what was happening. You know, some people felt like they could have sex with women because his other friends that came here and was talking about having sex actually forced the girl into having sex. You know, so, and whereas a lot of guys also lied. A lot of boys wasn't having sex, but they will be talking big in school and stuff and making other people feel like, oh man, because you haven't been doing it, that means you're weak, you're not hard, all of that stuff. So a lot of people also got pushed into terrible situations because of peer pressure. So we need to make sure you catch this. Listen, I've lived out here for a while now. I've worked in government institutions, I've worked in sports institutions, and the one thing that that's always reminding me of stuff is training. There's been a lot of training that I've gone through when it comes to diversity, when it comes to respect for others, when it comes to racism, when it comes to that I've now understood that there are certain behaviors that are just not right. But it took me a lot of training and learning to open my eyes and information to understand totally how to also treat, think, and feel about other people. So maybe our young brothers need to be brought back to a situation where they have to, brother, they should be prosecuted, because going to jail ain't enough. Some people are ready to go to jail, but if they know, all right, I think I've got Yemi here. I've got here. Let me talk to my queen for a bit. Let me find out what her thoughts are. on this terrible situation. My my dearest sister,
Hello, boss.
how
I'm
are
so
you
sorry for
feeling?
the hold up.
No, man. Listen, I'm more happy that you even took the time out to speak to me, man. First of
Ha.
all, thank you very much. I know you're in the middle of promoting your own music and promoting a brand new single and stuff like that. But this is a complete different conversation from music. You were one of the first people that came to my mind today when I was thinking about what's going on in Nigeria, the
Yeah.
injustices that women are going through. And I just thought, let me reach out to you and first of all, find out how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this?
It's very heartbreaking.
Hmm,
Um, as a female, as a woman, I've always been in situations that happen like on a normal, you find yourself in situations where you're either treated as second fiddle
hmm,
or um like a second base citizen,
hmm,
like your thoughts and your request and your existence is not as
hmm,
important as the other gender,
hmm,
but this time around, this is specifically about rape. I don't think there is any woman on this
hmm,
earth. I don't think there's any woman on this earth who hasn't, at some point or the other, been in either a rape situation
hmm,
or an almost rape situation. Like,
hmm,
I've not met any woman who hasn't either tactically found her way out of that or, unfortunately, you know, was
hmm,
raped. It's a very sad, sad thing. How I feel about these young girls, especially their ages, it just blows my mind.
hmm.
Unfortunately, what about the 12-year-old girl? I think her name is Jennifer, the
Yeah,
one that got raped by 11 men.
11 men, 11
A
men.
12-year-old girl, 12 years by 11 men. Like, 11 people did it. They took turns or whatever it was. But like, even if it's one person, the idea of anybody being forced onto you, okay, even one on one,
Hmm,
as a guy and me as a female, even you, when you go to certain places, you know how uncomfortable you get when someone you don't know or that you're not comfortable with tries to maybe like force a hug
yeah,
or just rub bodies in a way that you're not comfortable with. So now
hmm,
imagine a higher degree of forcefulness
hmm.
to the extent in a situation that involves intercourse. It's mind blowing.
It's
It's mind
crazy.
blowing.
And when
It's
I
sad.
I went to check Uwa's story, and the story is that she went to study at her church that she's been going to for 15 years and ended up being brutally raped in the local church. She had injuries that they used a fire extinguisher to hit her. She had bite marks and she later died in the hospital. Like, how do we raise men that can do such a thing?
I like that question. I like that question you
Hmm,
asked because it's every one of us that can solve this problem. It's not just a one person situation. It's not a question of asking why did she go there alone. It's not a question of asking who was there. I know, yes, we should find the perpetrators, and at least the most important thing is make sure that they face the hand of justice. But we need to understand that. Have you seen pictures of the fire extinguisher that was used to smash her head in?
I saw it.
From just from watching horror movies, crime and all that, you can see that when they struck this lady, they probably dragged her body along because there was a trail of blood
Blood.
going out towards the door. Human beings born by a woman,
Hmm,
human beings.
hmm,
It was obviously planned. I don't even know. Let me not even jump into let me not just start assuming. But I like what you said. How do we raise better men?
yes.
How do we raise better men? It is very important. For a long time, the girl child has been told exactly what to do. Sit
Hmm,
down like this. don't talk to this person like that, don't dress like this, don't do this. But who are we raising these beautiful ladies for?
Hmm.
If the end result is at some point to get married, meet somebody, who are we? You know,
Hmm.
there's someone in my house doing something. Just 1 second.
That's
Shay,
fine. That's
are you
fine.
guys done?
That's
You know you
fine.
can go.
We can hear you well. What was?
Ogashogwe,
Yes.
they're nailing in something on my wall. I need him to nail it. Just let him just nail it one time so it does not interfere with our.
No,
Please go ahead.
it's fine. One thing I also wanted to ask is, as a man, I think it's time that we start to take responsibility in telling our young brothers or telling our young sons that it is not right to treat a woman somehow. What else do you women think? Or I want to hear from a woman as well. What do you think we can do as men to also fight this disease that's now getting into our society, with young men feeling comfortable to commit these atrocities, including violence against women? What do you think we can do?
I think it's two things. I think there should be a proper offense, like proper persecution process
Mm,
put together towards rapists.
mm,
Like, to be sincere, a rapist is someone who takes from you sexually what he cannot give back.
wow.
A lot of women are past rape victims but are in marriages right now and they are struggling.
Mm,
Basically, their husbands begin to suffer for what another man has done.
wow. Wow.
So no man can sit at home and say, oh, at least me, I'm not a rapist. No, some way, somehow, it might find its way into your own family because these are just bad thoughts. I think the government needs to just step in and actually make rape like they should put the how I put it. I think the punishment for rape is pretty much equal to, is almost as
Death.
equal as murder. I
Absolutely.
would not say kill them because I don't own anybody's life. I would
Yeah.
not say the death penalty or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's at least maybe some kind of psychiatric home, some other things. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Mm,
One. Then second of all, I think every family right now has the obligation and responsibility of raising better men and actually telling them how to treat women.
mm,
And there's one thing that my friend always says. She says, children don't do what you tell them, they do what they see you do.
mm.
You say,
Wow.
hey, Jimmy, make sure you don't put your legs on the table. It's a dirty habit. You tell your kid that. Next minute, you're watching TV, you put your feet on the table.
Mm.
Guess what Jimmy is doing?
Gonna
Jimmy is
do the
getting
same
ready to
thing.
put his own feet as well. So like, if that is what is happening,
Mm,
we need to be able to teach our kids. Some people start off from being in a home where there's regular domestic abuse. And when they see that this human being, this life form is always subjected to continuous battering,
mm,
what would be sexual harassment? What would be rape?
mm,
Rape would be nothing.
mm.
Rape would be nothing. You know? So
I
like that's
also
just
I also think there's one big question I like to ask people. If you ask any young man between the age of 1 and 15 who the most important person in his life is, they say their mother.
mm-hmm.
But between the ages of 15 and 21, there's something
Yeah.
that's missing from guys that make us feel like maybe women somehow can be treated anyhow. Because if we respect every woman like the way we love our mother, why would you feel comfortable in doing others, treating other women as terribly as that?
Okay, so but how are we going to decipher? How are we going to go into people's minds and find out why they do the things that they do?
Hmm.
Why? How are we going to find out? Like that, I like the way, seriously, you love your mother.
Hmm.
You think she is the sun that the earth revolves around, that your earth
Absolutely.
revolves around.
Absolutely.
So why is another woman less of a human being? Ah, I don't understand it though. The more I try to wrap my mind around it, the more impossible it is for me. It's just impossible for me to understand why.
Hmm.
Why? I think, when they say no means no, all these little things, I think we need to ring it in the ears of our boys, of our men. Right from when they're kids. Even when your kid asks for something, if you say no, it is no.
Hmm.
Until maybe you feel, okay, let me just give you this sweet, okay, take, But
Hmm.
like that also transcends into man and woman relationship.
Hmm.
You don't force, even as a husband, you don't forcefully take from your
Absolutely.
wife.
Absolutely.
You don't do that.
Hmm.
Of course, I don't understand. Why would you smash in that 22-year-old girl that's in church? Why would 11 men rape this little 12-year-old
12-year-old
kid?
girl.
Why would police just randomly be trigger happy and shoot at
It's 16-year-old.
a driver, but unfortunately the stray bullet hits the 16-year-old girl, and then the story about maybe because of a 200 naira extortion. Like, what would you say all that? What is all that about?
Hmm.
When we ask these questions, why do human beings do the things that they do?
Hmm.
We don't know. But what are the solutions?
Hmm.
We really need to focus on the solution. You know that it's
Absolutely.
because of this corona period and lockdown. That's why people are actually given more attention to what is happening.
Yes.
Assuming everything were as it used to be, everybody is in the hustle and bustle of life trying to get their daily bread. A lot of people will not get to hear about this. And
Yes.
because we have this time, I think we should do more.
Hmm.
I went online, I saw a petition on one org. I
Yes.
signed and I tweeted asking more people to also do the same.
Hmm.
You know, Hopefully our voices can be heard. Even what's going on in America. There are a lot of
Absolutely.
matches going on. I agree, you must shake the earth for the earth to turn your way. But
Hmm.
sometimes you have to move
Hmm.
before people move for you. But the
Absolutely.
question now is, even after the protest,
Hmm.
we know that the most important thing right now is for law to be on our side.
Hmm.
We need the law to be on our side. The consensual age for females is still from 11 in
God
Nigeria. I say 11
damn.
or 12.
God damn it, man. That's
How can you see
crazy.
an 11-year-old girl with a baby? Like, how do these things add up?
That's crazy.
How is that a thing? 11 with another. She cannot even take care of herself yet, but now she has to take care
That,
of another kid.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
And
It's
even in Nigeria, I hear that if you take a rape situation to the courts, if you're married, for instance, and you had a situation where your spouse has raped you, they will be asked at the courts, how can one rape oneself? That is 1 plus 1 not equals to 1 in a marriage institution. How can one rape oneself? What kind of dismissive conclusion is that?
mm,
We have already
mm,
even lost the case before we even go to court. Literally, there is
mm,
no case.
mm.
We just need the law on our side in
Absolutely.
general. And we need to help each other. Even when we tweet about these things, I notice that some guys get very offensive on Twitter,
What
online.
is that? What is that behavior? I don't understand, please. I don't get that. That some guys are offensive onto why are they angry if they're not guilty? What are they angry about? So people don't want women to talk anymore and express
I
themselves?
don't even know. I don't even know, Baba. I don't even know. Whether they don't want females to speak or they just think that females are talking trash. I don't know. I can't put it together. I understand, to be sincere. Sometimes when people make generalized comments, and say, "Oh, um, men need to stop raping women, and
Hmm.
men are very condescending creatures." Like when you just say stuff like that, I understand that the generalization sometimes might hit you
Hmm.
if you're of that gender.
Mm.
But let's not miss the message. If you believe that you're not that kind of person, take the message to someone you know that's doing it. Most guys know there are guys that do these things.
Facts, 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 facts.
It's like a
Bro,
joyride for some people.
absolutely, 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 absolutely.
Recently, something like that almost happened somewhere on the mainland. A friend had some female guests over, a
Yeah,
guy friend of mine had some female guests over, and he had to run. He had to end their meeting and
yeah,
head somewhere else. So he escorted them out, but then had to leave them. And it was already dark, like 7. No, actually, it was even a video shoot. So they had stepped out of the warehouse where they were shooting the video. And right there at the gates, they were waiting for the taxify. But they went out of the gate to wait for the taxify. And it was kind of dark there, but it was still like, not like the express, but like towards under a bridge. The guy had already gone for his meeting. These two girls were there talking, blah, blah, blah. Next thing, the girl managed to call my friend back and tell him, please come back. Just come back. She ended the call. She couldn't say more.
wow,
When this guy, like, he had the choice of, like how we just saw each other. Why would just come and say, please come back, just come back? Like, he had the choice of ignoring the message and
yeah,
just go. But he said, okay, out of curiosity, because she sounded a bit, tense.
yeah,
He went, and guess what? Yeah, he saw a guy already pinning. They already held their hands. He
wow,
had pinned them really.
wow,
He had already pinned them to the railing. These girls are kind of like smallish in nature, so it was to his advantage.
wow,
In the dark, on the streets in Lagos,
wow,
on the streets, open street, oh, no be say house day we cover anywhere, open street, and then you
wow.
ask yourself why. Now, conji be the problem.
Mm. Which kind?
You are not
How
well brought up.
how
You are
can you have
what is
how can you
possessed.
have sex with somebody that doesn't want to have sex with you? Someone that's
Ah,
crying and shouting. How can that
ah,
be any kind of pleasure
ah.
for any? That's like a sick human being.
I agree. That is sickness. It's like seeing somebody's thing and going to go and take it, and when the person comes confront you, just start hammering, beating you, attack the person violently. Isn't that madness? It's a stage of madness.
Hmm.
It's not okay. It shouldn't be looked at as a normal thing. But unfortunately, a lot of people see it as a normal thing because that's happening. It's like a normal thing. You can go to concerts, you hear about girls getting raped in Lagos, in Nigeria, in
Yes,
Enugu.
yes.
It's like a normal thing. Everybody just say, hey, ha, wow, yay, wow. And then it just blows over.
Hmm. What about in like yesterday we saw in America that the governor of Minnesota, or I think it was
Yeah.
Minneapolis or something, he got a phone call from Jay-Z to ask for
Uh,
justice. Can we, can entertainers like yourselves and maybe some of your colleagues pick up the phone and speak to some of these politicians and demand justice for people like Uwa, for people like the young girl in, is that possible in Nigeria?
boss, when I saw that message, I asked myself these exact same questions that
Hmm.
you're asking me. After all, one I say in Nigeria, maybe Jay-Z is not my mate, but like he is in the same
Yeah,
industry as I am,
yeah,
and I am just as influential in my own corner.
yeah.
And it is times like this that I wish I was rolling in the political circle.
Hmm.
The ability to just easily pick up your phone and call certain people, movers and shakers of our government, but it's so unfortunate. So recently, a few weeks back, when the COVID-19 lockdown uh, was in effect, when it
Yeah,
was total lockdown,
yeah,
I just began asking myself so many questions, and I had nobody to answer. I had tweeted randomly, I tweeted my thoughts and looked around me and seen even people that worked for me and seen how the whole thing was affecting them, affecting me, how the whole of Nigeria didn't know where to turn left or right or what was going on. The numbers of COVID patients kept rising. My concern was to the safety of people because people couldn't even, sick people who were already sick before COVID-19 could not even go to hospitals because they needed to have COVID-19 certificates. And getting the test as at then was still very, very, very difficult. I was hearing just of 1.2 million naira to get tested. You know, where would the regular man on the street get that? Then there's suddenly a lockdown. Now that there's a lockdown, people cannot feed. What happens to the area boys that feed up the 100 naira, 200 naira that we give them? What happens to the people that are hawking on the streets every day to make their living? The beggars, etc. What you have done is that you have activated armed robbers because they need to eat. They need to eat because they're human. So I kept asking questions. I was not getting any answers. In fact, I was having people coming at me on Twitter because they don't want to hear the truth, or they don't want to hear or accommodate the human part of me that wants to know about the well-being of the people that support my business, support my music, my fan me. So I called somebody and I asked them about how I could, get my voice heard, like I won't say in a professional manner, but in a more direct manner, to whom it may concern. Because there seemed to be no way, you cannot go to your local government chairman because he's not on seats and he's not interested in hearing that bull. He'll tell you it's not government, that it's a federal government case. This has nothing to do with local government. Those kind of things. And so this person advised me, he said, okay, what I need to do is to do my homework. I should find out who the chairman of my local government is, find out the people who head the different departments where I feel we need assistance in as a people. And I should tweet directly to them, like Honorable that, His Excellency, blah, 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 or Her Excellency, da, da, da. I should read up on what the government also has done, and I should come to Twitter or come online with facts. I took a week to do my homework. I checked, I noticed the board of directors that had been put together by the government, and I also realized who was in charge of funds that are coming in for NCDC, board members of NCDC, just basically the backyard gist, what NGO is running what, because they said the NGO was commissioned by the government, and literally government should not have an NGO, because a non-governmental organization.
Because it's a non-governmental organization.
But then again, you put one and two together and it's not making sense. So I now took all my questions to the people I think I need to talk to. When I tweeted at them, not only did I not get any response, it was as if the government had a truckload of people who
are fighting on their behalf.
And then the insult started raining. And a lot of people were missing the point. But here's what I think. I think it's not just a situation of the government having some bulldogs online, but I think it's a situation where some Nigerians just like to oppose everything and anything that comes their way without understanding it. Their duty there is not to allow you to get to the promised land. It's just to be a human blockade, a human barrier. Just disrupt, just break and only. I'm like, Barry does not know you. What are you clamoring here for? It's not going to notice you. I'm asking questions, just simple questions. Like, now that education has been put on pause, we are already lacking our educational sector.
Yeah.
This cost that we're placing on education, how do we intend to help these children make up for the lost time? You know, and questions like that still just get ignored, and people are just saying stupid things like, oh, do we even have internet? We know the problem, give us solution.
Hmm.
You know, so that's this same thing. You now ask yourself, who do we talk to? And we don't know. That's okay. I need to take 1 second again to
Yeah.
dismiss some people.
No problem. No problem. Shout outs to everybody online there, listening. I'm just speaking to YEMIALADE, just trying to catch up with my sister and find out what her thoughts are on what's really going on in Nigeria, particularly with the unfortunate situation that happened to the young lady in Benin, the young lady, I think in Maiduguri, the 12-year-old that got raped by 11 men, the young lady in Benin, just the lack of answers. Now, Yemi, I know you're a very busy woman. Again, I mentioned the fact that you've got the brand new single out, Boys. People should go and check that out. I love that record anyway. But I wanted to find out, last week, something happened. I saw you tweet online. I saw Tiwa Savage tweet online about the fact that women feel that they are not being supported by women. What is your thoughts? How true is that? And what's your thoughts about the fact that the female entertainers and movers and shakers like yourselves that are working really hard to break down glass ceilings feel like the people that are probably pulling you back sometimes are other women too? What are your thoughts about that? And what would you like to say to your fellow sisters?
Well, it's the sad truth.
Hmm.
It's actually the sad truth. Um, I don't understand it because I'm not that kind of woman.
Hmm.
And so, like, it's like when you say a mad person,
Hmm.
and you're trying to understand the things that the mad person does, how they do it, and why they do it. For you to understand, you're equally mad.
Hmm.
You only have you can only understand when you are eventually mad.
Hmm.
You know? And there's so much power that females have. And God has really blessed women with so much power. You know, it's unfortunate that most times we're told that the world makes us to shrink, to accommodate every other person. But if you look at even concerts, most times ticket sales are because of females are always championing that this concert has to be attended. If you go to any concert, you see that the front row is occupied predominantly by females. You know this.
It's women.
They don't joke with that front stage. It is theirs. They're there.
Yeah.
And they will make everybody buy ticket. Anybody that they know. Most boyfriends and husbands buy tickets because of the
woman. Yeah.
Exactly. So knowing that we are this influential, it goes to show also that it's because of females that a lot of music is being made popular.
Yes.
But even within, there will always be some bad eggs. There are some women who need to work on their envy levels. Some women who need to understand that we are all imperfect. If you don't like one thing about somebody, it doesn't make the person entirely not worthy. We need to be able to understand other people's opinion of a subject matter without emotionally or without getting emotional and even insulting their
way of thinking,
their prerogative, their choice, their preference, So I think that definitely is a woman problem. But as far as support, some women are very, very keen on supporting other females. Some women are all about the talk and no action. And even when you go to concerts, you see that most times when the guy is performing, all the females stand up. When another female is performing, they just sit down.
They sit down.
It be like remote control. Off, on. I don't understand it. But I pray every day for the women that actually support other women. You know, I pray every day for them. I'm grateful for them. They are the reason that so much good has happened in the industry. You know, and envious, scornful woman will always destroy everything in her path. Sometimes when you see that some things are not working well in your life, you don't realize it's because of all the evil thoughts that you exude every day. A lot of us need to cleanse our thoughts. There's something that someone told me that when someone is doing very well, maybe like a neighbor, has got a new car, gotten a new job, living that life, has given birth to kids, gotten married, everything's happening. Do not be envious. Be happy. Do you know why? Because God is in the environment. Your prayer should be, Lord, as you have done this for this person, please do it
Do
for
for
me.
me.
Because I am right there in the environment. God, I'm happy that you have done this for this person. I'm so happy because my turn is close. My turn is near. You know, even when I get to become like a global superstar, when
Yeah.
Tiwa had songs out there that were doing well and she had songs that were doing well, I said, God, thank you, because if these women can do it, that means it will soon be my turn. You know, and I think that should be the prayer of every woman, that somebody shines bright and beautiful doesn't make your light shine any less.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My sister, listen, thank you very much for taking this time out to share with us. We appreciate you. Hopefully, once the COVID-19 is done, you can come into town and let's get back to what.
You know about that. I hope that they don't try to give us vaccines by force. So that's the
Nah,
only thing.
nah, they ain't giving us
Because
that.
I'm hearing that that is the new way. Oh.
No, no, no.
No,
That's not
no
going to
vaccine,
happen.
no travel.
That's not going to happen. And again, I saw some of the videos of us in Kenya like 4 years ago, man. We need to make that trip happen, man. We need to make
Yo,
that trip happen again,
I
man.
tell you, I tell you,
I
I
swear,
tell
man, that
you.
was one of the best. That was one of my best ever times, man. I had so much fun. I
Yeah.
appreciate you for always reaching out, for always being you, being an inspiration to me and to other people. You know how much I love you anyway. So thank you very much for the hard work, man. Yeah. So everybody go check out Boys. Voice is out now.
You know what? Even in the song, I mentioned the type of boys. You know, like I'm just saying,
Which ones?
we
Which
need
ones?
to level up. We
Which
need to
kind of
level
voice?
up.
Which kind of voice?
Ah, beard gang now.
Yo, come on,
Oh,
come on.
come on. Don't be small picking.
Listen, thank you very much.
Landlord is not bad. Landlord is not bad.
Have a wonderful day, man. Thank you, sis. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
God bless.